So, what is the best horror game on Roblox? Is it Doors, a very popular, highly replayable game, or Mimic, which has a more of a story and higher graphics, or is it something completely different? I surveyed my audience about this question about 9 months ago. With 64% of the vote, we had Doors, 28% of my audience picked Mimic, Judy and lurks had 3% combined, and the other had 5%, which means any horror game on Roblox. I quickly realized that most people thought Doors was better, which makes sense since they have a 10 times bigger player base than the Mimic. However, this poll was done right after the Doors Hotel update just came out. So that means it could have just been my viewers at the time were just Doors fans. Now, on my most controversial video, Doors vs Mimic, where I said I enjoyed Doors better, it got a lot of backlash, with about 60% disagreeing and saying they thought Mimic was better. But just because a game is popular doesn't mean it is the best. So I asked my YouTube moderator, Mr. Nexus, who has picked out a ton of horror games, to search for 3 horror games used in these categories: the scariest horror game, the best gameplay horror game, and the best story. These games have no player count or popularity restrictions, and here's what we found. For scariest game, we chose Silent Blocks. For story, we picked Apartment 67, and for gameplay, we picked Dark Corners. And of course, we have Mimic and Doors, so that is our top 5. I have played all these games before except Silent Blocks, but it is very similar to a recently removed game called PT, which I have played and really scared me about 2 to 3 years ago. So here's a very quick summary of all 3 games, starting with PT. PT follows an unnamed protagonist navigating a haunted corridor with a looping, redecorating hallway. The narrator reports a familicide committed by a father, hinting at 2 similar cases. We chose that as the scariest game. Now, I played Silent Block on my own just recently to see if it kept up to the standards, and I can tell you that the jump scares are terrifying and you feel trapped as you are super tall in a small corridor. With the sound effects and loud jump scares, it makes it a terrifying experience. Oh my god, the sounds, I don't like it. In Dark Corners, you have to collect crystals, complete objectives, and avoid a monster using abilities like dash, vision, and hearing. We chose that as best gameplay. I went to test this game as well, and it does a really good job at the tutorials, showing you all your abilities and making the game simple, which I liked. And finally, Apartment 67 is a solo psychological horror experience where you explore a compact apartment, gradually discovering you're not the only inhabitant. Testing this out, what I really liked is how the story just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You thought the story was not going to get any bigger from there, but it just kept on expanding from that story, which I really liked, which is why we have this as best story. So for the sake of this video, we are going to remove 2 games from this list. We're going to have Doors and Mimic automatically in the top 3, but only one of these games will also make it to the top 3. So the first one we're going to remove is Dark Corners. The reason I am removing this game is because we are judging on horror game. This game is very scary, however not compared to the rest, and doesn't give us as much as a horror vibe as the others. The next one we will be removing is Apartment Room 67. Now for the top 3 spot, it was very close to Apartment Room 67 and also PT, or as some of you guys might call it, Silent Blocks. But I do feel like PT does give off a more suspenseful and horror vibe than the other games. So that's why we're going to put PT or Silent Blocks up in our top 3 spot. So for our top 3 games, we have the Mimic, we have Doors, and for our unknown game, we have Silent Blocks. Now only one can have the first place spot, and here's what we decided. Now it is no secret that no matter what game I pick, some may disagree, and that's okay. There are thousands of horror games on Roblox, so there's no way I can be 100% accurate, but I try my best to be as close as possible. So our third place game, I'm going to have to put PT or Silent Blocks. It is an excellent horror game, but sadly not up to the quality of Doors and Mimic just yet. Now for our first place game, the best horror game I think there is on Roblox. Now I'm going to have to say the Mimic. Doors is an excellent horror game that does some stuff way better than the Mimic, such as replayability and progression. However, Mimic is probably the best story game out there. I know I may have a little bit of a bias because this is my main content source on my channel, but with that, I have played hundreds of hours of the Mimic. If you're looking for a story-driven horror game with lots of jump scares, high-quality gameplay with variety of game modes and secrets, the Mimic is definitely the game, so I think that is the best right now. And 2 honorable mentions which I did think deserve to be on this list. We have Judy, and we also have It Lurks and They Lurks, which is pretty much the same thing. And like I said earlier, this may not be 100% accurate, so let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe and like and turn on those notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.